Strangers in the sky. The first sign came on an ordinary Tuesday. At the Atacama Large Millimeter Array in Chile, Dr. Marcus Wright spilled his coffee across his keyboard when the readings appeared. 73 objects had suddenly materialized at the edge of our solar system. Not approached, materialized. One moment empty space. The next moment 73 metallic structures, each roughly the size of Manhattan. "This can't be right," he muttered, frantically recalibrating the equipment. But the readings persisted. Within hours, observatories worldwide confirmed what Marcus already knew. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. The objects accelerated toward Earth at speeds that defied our understanding of physics. No heat signatures, no radiation trails, just pure, impossible movement that brought them from Neptune's orbit to Earth's in less than 48 hours. Global panic ensued as the objects became visible to the naked eye. Massive obsidian structures that blotted out the stars as they positioned themselves strategically around the planet. Markets crashed. Religious fervor exploded. Military forces worldwide went to maximum alert. In Washington, D.C., Commander Eliza Chen stood rigidly at attention in the White House Situation Room as President Okafor addressed the emergency assembly of military and scientific leaders. "What options do we have?" the president asked, her voice steady despite the unprecedented crisis. General Harris, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, cleared his throat. "Madam President, we've aimed every nuclear missile we have at those things. But we have no idea if nuclear weapons would even scratch them. And if we attack first," Commander Chen added, "we potentially initiate a war with a civilization technologically superior to our own. A war we cannot win." Dr. Wright, having been flown in from Chile on a supersonic military jet, spoke up. "Their positioning isn't random. They've established a geometric pattern that suggests a communications network or possibly a weapons grid." As if responding to his observation, all electronic communications worldwide suddenly failed. Internet, satellite, cellular networks. Everything went dark simultaneously. Only hardwired systems remained operational. Then came the message, broadcasting through every speaker and screen on Earth. "Humans of the third planet, your resources have been claimed by the Meridian Collective. Surrender is expected. Resistance is inefficient." Before anyone could process the implications, the attack began. From each ship, pencil-thin beams of purple light stabbed downward, targeting major population centers. Tokyo, New York, Lagos, Sao Paulo, Beijing, London, Delhi. When the beams touched down, they expanded into swirling vortices that consumed everything within a half-mile radius. Buildings, vehicles, people, all reduced to component atoms and siphoned upward into the waiting ships. In mere minutes, 28 cities had partial sectors completely erased from existence. President Okafor's face had gone ashen. "This is genocide." "No," Dr. Wright said, studying the data coming in from surviving monitoring stations. "It's harvesting." At military installations worldwide, defensive measures proved futile. Missile launches were intercepted mid-flight, the weapons disintegrating before they could reach their targets. Fighter jets lost power when they approached within 20 miles of any alien vessel. It was like fighting gods with sticks and stones. Yet in the chaos of those first hours, Commander Chen noticed something odd. The alien harvesting beams would occasionally flicker when passing near certain communications arrays, specifically those broadcasting on particular VHF frequencies. She requisitioned a small team and makeshift equipment, setting up at the remains of the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. Using the museum's old transmission equipment, they began broadcasting across various frequencies while monitoring the nearest harvester beam. "There," Technical Sergeant Patel shouted. "Did you see that? Frequency 121.7 mH. The beam destabilized for 2.3 seconds. Chen's eyes narrowed. "Boost the signal strength. Focus everything we have on that frequency." When they amplified the broadcast, the nearest harvester beam didn't just flicker. It collapsed entirely. the purple vortex dissipating into harmless light. Within hours, this discovery spread through hardwired military channels. The aliens had a weakness. A specific resonance frequency disrupted their harvesting technology. It wasn't much, but it was something. Humanity's first counterattack would use sound as its primary weapon. Across the globe, military and civilian radio equipment was hastily modified to broadcast at the disruptive frequency. Old AM radio stations became defensive outposts. Car stereos became weapons. While the aliens continued their systematic harvesting, humanity began to fight back in small, desperate ways. In Washington, President Okafor authorized Operation Thunderclap, a coordinated global broadcast of the disruptive frequency at maximum power. Every functioning transmitter, from military arrays to college radio stations, would hit the Meridian ships simultaneously. Dr. Wright worked frantically with a team of physicists to enhance the effect. If we modulate the frequency in a complex pattern rather than a steady tone, we might be able to do more than just disrupt their harvesters. We might hurt them. As dawn broke over a changed Earth, smoke rising from partially harvested cities, millions dead or missing, humanity prepared its first real counterattack. Commander Chen stood at the control center of the hastily assembled broadcast hub beneath the Pentagon. All global stations report ready, Madam President. President Okafor took a deep breath. Commence Operation Thunderclap. At precisely 700 UTC, every remaining broadcast system on Earth unleashed a synchronized barrage of modulated waves at 121.7 mph. The effect was immediate and stunning. The alien ships visibly shuddered in the sky. The harvesting beams not only collapsed but backfired, causing cascading energy reactions along the hulls of the Meridian vessels. 3 smaller ships lost stability entirely, crashing into the ocean with catastrophic impacts that triggered tsunamis along coastlines worldwide. But the victory was short-lived. The remaining Meridian ships adapted quickly, shifting their operational frequencies. The harvesting resumed within hours, now accompanied by more precise attacks targeting Earth's broadcasting infrastructure. "They're learning," Dr. Wright said grimly as reports came in of alien fighter craft specifically destroying radio towers and transmission stations. And they're angry. As night fell on the first day of humanity's resistance, Commander Chen watched the alien ships through a high-powered telescope. Their formation had changed, tightening into what military analysts were calling an attack posture. "Tomorrow will be worse," she told Dr. Wright as they prepared for the seemingly hopeless fight ahead. "But we've proven one thing today." "What's that?" Wright asked, exhaustion evident in his voice. "That they aren't invincible. And sometimes, that's all the hope you need." Above them, the Meridian ships glowed with increasing intensity, preparing for what would surely be an even more devastating assault. But for the first time since their arrival, the aliens appeared cautious, perhaps even concerned. Humanity had landed its first punch. The real fight was just beginning. The thunderous response. 3 weeks after first contact, Earth was barely recognizable. Major cities lay partially consumed, bizarre alien structures grew from the harvested zones, and the skies remained dominated by the Meridian vessels. Yet humanity hadn't surrendered. Underground networks flourished. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians collaborated in hidden bunkers and repurposed subway tunnels. Radio silence was maintained except for brief, encrypted bursts of communication using frequency-hopping algorithms that the aliens couldn't track fast enough. In a former salt mine beneath Detroit, Commander Chen addressed the assembled leaders of what was now called the Global Defense Network. "The good news is we've successfully disrupted 16 more harvesting operations using our modified sonic weapons," she said, gesturing to a digital map showing alien activity. "The bad news is they're adapting faster each time." Dr. Wright stepped forward, his normally immaculate appearance now disheveled after weeks without proper rest. "But we're learning too. Analysis of debris from the downed ships has given us insights into their technology. They utilize a crystalline computing architecture that's sensitive to specific harmonic resonances. In English, Doc. General Harris grumbled. Their computers are like extremely advanced tuning forks, Wright explained, and we figured out how to make them shatter. The discovery had come at great cost. Thousands of volunteers had risked their lives recovering alien materials from crash sites and harvesting zones. Many hadn't returned, but those sacrifices had yielded critical intelligence. The Meridians weren't just harvesting matter. They were specifically targeting rare earth elements and certain isotopes. More importantly, they were vulnerable to something humans had in abundance: creativity and adaptability. Their technology is more advanced, but it's rigid, Wright continued. They rely on predictable patterns and protocols. When we do something unexpected, like modulate our attack frequencies in jazz-like improvisations rather than mathematical sequences, they struggle to counter effectively. This insight led to Operation Cacophony, humanity's most ambitious counterattack yet. Instead of direct assaults on the Meridian ships, human forces began targeting the strange structures growing in harvested zones. These turned out to be processing centers where collected materials were refined before transport to the motherships. Guerrilla teams equipped with sonic disruptors, devices cobbled together from modified speaker systems and amplifiers, struck these processing centers with devastating effect. Each team used different frequency patterns, constantly changing their approach in ways the aliens couldn't predict. Meanwhile, in a secure facility beneath the Swiss Alps, Dr. Wright made another breakthrough. By studying the communication patterns between Meridian ships, he discovered they used quantum entanglement for instant information transfer, but with a critical vulnerability. They've linked their entire command structure through this quantum network, he explained to Commander Chen. If we can introduce a disruptive pattern into one node, it will instantly corrupt the entire system. The plan was audacious. A small team would board a Meridian vessel, plant a quantum disruptor device, and escape before detonation. The mission was nearly suicidal, but volunteers stepped forward immediately. Commander Chen insisted on leading the insertion team herself. "This isn't about rank or protocol anymore," she told President Okafor during the briefing. "This is about sending people who can adapt when things inevitably go wrong. That's my specialty." The team consisted of Chen, Dr. Wright, whose expertise would be needed to calibrate the disruptor on site, and 3 Special Forces operators who had successfully penetrated harvesting zones previously. Their opportunity came when a Meridian scout ship descended to investigate an apparent malfunction at a processing center in the Arizona desert. In reality, the malfunction was an elaborate trap. As the scout ship hovered above the facility, the team launched aboard using grappling systems modified with the same anti-gravitational technology recovered from crashed alien craft. The boarding was successful, but they immediately faced an unexpected challenge. The atmosphere inside the ship was toxic to humans. "Masks on, limited oxygen," Chen ordered as they moved through the alien vessel. The interior was both beautiful and disturbing. Flowing architectural lines and pulsing bioluminescent surfaces that seemed partially alive. They encountered only minimal resistance. The Meridians, it seemed, had never anticipated enemies aboard their ships. The few alien crew members they encountered were easily incapacitated by modified sonic weapons. In what appeared to be the ship's control center, Dr. Wright worked quickly to install the quantum disruptor. "Something's not right," he muttered as he studied the alien interfaces. "Their technology. It's not as advanced as we thought in some areas." Before he could elaborate, the ship suddenly accelerated upward, heading toward one of the larger Meridian vessels. "Change of plans," Commander Chen decided. "We're not disembarking. If this scout docks with a command ship, we can deliver our package directly to their leadership." As the scout ship docked, the team made a shocking discovery. The Meridians weren't a naturally evolved species. They were artificial constructs, biological drones controlled by a central intelligence. And that intelligence was familiar with humans. "These symbols," Wright said, pointing to markings on a central console. "They're not alien. They're an ancient Earth language." Sumerian, if I'm not mistaken. Before they could process this revelation, they were surrounded by larger, more imposing meridian forms. Unlike the drone operators they'd encountered earlier, these entities moved with purpose and intelligence. The lead meridian addressed them in perfect English. Your resistance exceeds projected parameters. Recalibration is necessary. Commander Chen raised her weapon, but Wright stopped her. Wait, you know us. You've studied us. Why attack now, after all this time? Necessity, the Meridian replied. Your species approaches a technological threshold that threatens established order. The directive requires preemptive resource appropriation. The directive, Wright pressed, established after the Great Collapse. No emerging species may advance to Type 1 civilization status without supervision. Humanity rejected initial guidance attempts. The pieces suddenly clicked into place. Ancient astronaut theories, mysterious interventions throughout human history. These weren't myths. They were previous guidance attempts by the Meridians or whatever they represented. So this invasion is punishment for developing independently? Chen asked incredulously. Correction, not punishment. Reclamation. Your resources will serve species already aligned with the directive. While this exchange continued, one of the Special Forces operators had quietly placed the quantum disruptor against what appeared to be a central communication node. With a subtle nod from Chen, he activated the device. The effect was instantaneous and spectacular. The Meridian leader froze mid-sentence. Throughout the ship, systems began failing in cascading sequence. The quantum disruption spread through the entangled network, corrupting communication and control systems across the entire Meridian fleet. Time to go, Chen ordered as the ship's gravity systems began to fail. Their escape was chaos. They fought their way to an escape pod as the massive command ship began breaking apart around them. The pod ejected just moments before catastrophic system failure triggered a chain reaction throughout the vessel. From the ground, people watched in awe as Meridian ships worldwide simultaneously lost power and control. Some crashed into unpopulated areas. Others drifted out of Earth orbit, their crews unable to maintain systems without the quantum network linking them to the collective intelligence. In the aftermath, humanity discovered the full truth. The Meridians were an ancient control system created by one of the first galactic civilizations. Their purpose had been to guide developing worlds toward peaceful integration with galactic society. But over millions of years, their programming had corrupted. They no longer guided. They harvested, claiming resources from promising worlds before they could become competitors. Earth's victory sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time, in thousands of cycles, a pre-threshold civilization had defeated the Meridian Collective. Diplomatic envoys from truly independent alien civilizations arrived within months, eager to establish relations with the species that had accomplished the impossible. At the first Galactic Diplomatic Summit, Commander Chen, now Admiral Chen, represented Earth alongside President Okafor and Dr. Wright. The alien representatives treated the humans with a respect bordering on awe. You must understand, explained the ambassador from a civilization calling themselves the Lucent Accord. What you achieved was thought impossible. Your species' unique combination of cooperative effort and individual improvisation created a defense the Meridians couldn't counter. We just did what humans always do, Chen replied. We adapted. As humanity took its first steps into a much larger community of intelligent species, the galaxy watched with both interest and trepidation. Humans had proved themselves not just survivors, but innovators who could achieve the seemingly impossible through sheer determination and creativity. The species that had been surprised by invasion had answered with a thunderous response that echoed across the stars. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as supplicants or victims, but as equals who had earned their place through fire and ingenuity. And the galaxy would never be the same.